Hey everyone, so today I decided that it's finally time to make the Kalphite King guide. Now, I have been talking about this for a long time, and the reason I haven't been putting it out is each time I went to make a guide, JaGeX changed something. Like, I had a guide basically to go out when they changed the Steel Titan thing, and it was basically completely different now. You can't Rambo the kill kind of thing. It's a lot slower it was at the time, and I thought, I'll wait and see a bit later down the track and see what they change and what happens. But I'm going to cover everything you need to know, so be ready to take all the information. Even if you've done Kalphite since release, there might be some things here that you want to see. We'll start off with the level requirements. Well, there isn't actually any level requirements. These are my recommended requirements, obviously, because you don't want to be too low level there. But other than that, let's get into it. Now, this might seem low, but as in like how many requirements there is, but there isn't really many recommended requirements. These are the only level requirements you need. So 90 attack, 90 strength, 90 defense, 90 constitution, 95 prayer, and 96 herb lore. Now, these are only the level requirements. You're obviously going to do a lot better with the better gear you have. The actual armor itself isn't a huge bonus of what it used to be back in old RuneScape, but the actual weapons now. So if you want to actually do damage, you basically have to have Drygores. This guide is purely melee based because maging and raging are just not even accepted pretty much in any good team. You won't be maging or raging. So I'm just going to teach you guys how to melee because it is the best way at the moment and the most efficient. Now, I just wanted to quickly show you guys how to get there. So you want to home tele straight to the bandit camp teleport, then run directly south until you get to the exiled Kalphite hive. Exactly that picture there, that's perfect map for it. Once you get into the hive, go east a little bit until you get to a hole which is blocked. Then run all the way south, then east a tiny bit, then back straight up north and you'll be out the hole. Unblock the tunnel there and then you'll be able to use that shortcut every time. Now if you do die, there will be a grave, there's like a graveyard basically. You'll be running straight past it. It's really easy. If you do die, just run back and go down into the hive and it will be there. Do not, I repeat, do not go back into the room with the Kalphite King because that is a bad idea and your grave will not be in there. Alright, so for ability bars, you pretty much want to have the top one there is my DPS bar and the bottom one is my tank bar. Now as a DPS, you definitely want both bars, as if you do need to provoke, as I'll explain later on, for to protect someone from a green, which is the one hit KO when someone turns green, which also I'll explain later on, you'll basically want to swap onto that bar because we have everything there you want. You could use the same bar and have everything there, but it wouldn't be suggested. It's better off to have two bars. So if you have these bars here, you'll pretty much have everything you need to know. And I'm going to assume you know how to melee as a melee of DPS or how to use those abilities. And if not, you probably shouldn't be attempting Kalphite King. But if not, I can do a guide, I guess, on how to maximize DPS while meleeing, which would be pretty good, I guess. If you guys want that, leave a comment. Alright, so now we're going to go into the Kalphite King abilities and basically all of the dangerous ones and everything you need to know about what to avoid and what he's doing. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is charge. Now you can see he charges up there and then it will charge in the direction that he's facing. Now you can run along beside it basically, or you can get a free taxi like the guy there did. And you want to spam abilities. Now these won't actually hit the Kalphite King. Only the one that you used last will actually hit when you click on it next. This will just get adrenaline up. It's very helpful and you should always be trying to get your adrenaline up. Now the next ability I'm going to show you guys is dig. Now it digs straight down and whoever was on it will come back up underneath. Now if you are standing exactly where it comes up, you get hit like it is demonstrated right there and you take a lot of damage. So make sure you're not on it, and if it's on you, run around and try to lure it, as like in this clip here. You want to lure it away from the minions so it's easy to click around and see what's going on, especially in mage phase. Now the next ability I want to show you is cleave. Now you don't want to be standing on the same side as what the tank is. Now as you can see here, it will hit us, it will hit the tank and then it will hit both of us back, as seen right there. It will take a lot of damage, so try to avoid that by standing on a different side than the tank. The provoker, the person with the shield who will be saving the person who gets turned green, definitely can't stand on the same side as them, or they will definitely maybe get bled or something. Yeah, because that's really bad, as I'll explain later on. Now the next ability is Red Shield. And as you can see there, it puts a red shield up and whatever damage the Kalphite King does, it will heal itself. And it doesn't actually do any damage in this clip here, but if it did do damage, especially in mage phase, it heals itself. And it can be pretty bad sometimes if it does bomb the whole place up pretty much in mage phase. So just watch out for that, especially when using immortality when provoking off a green, which I will also explain later on. Now the next ability is Green Shield. Now we actually call this one pink. We say pink as soon as we see it because when you say green, it means green as in like the one hit shot when the person has provoked, which I'll explain around later on. So if you are on Skype, try to say pink shield and make sure to know that everyone knows what you're talking about. And what it does is whatever you damage it heals. So it's kind of like next siphon, so don't hit it. Now the next ability I'd like to show you is Mage Balls. Now these actually come in a pattern and they're only in Mage phase. As you can see here, it shoots one and it will blow up, mentioning that, and it will damage you, so you got to get away from it, or you can tank it. Then it'll shoot a blue ball, and the next one it shoots will be another one, and I believe it goes down. Now digs and charges and all those things, they're all random. There's a lot of random mechanics in the Kalphite King. Now the next one it'll shoot will be another one, and then after that it'll shoot a two, and then I believe it charged. So the charges and the digs and that, they seem common, but then they can be just random and they just all go off place. Now showing you guys again now this pattern, if you're counting yourself, the pattern it's doing right now is exactly the same as the 1 blue 1 1 2. Now it's a good rhyme, isn't it? So just remember that you can tank the ones, they're pretty simple to tank. But the blues, you most likely, as soon as you go into a mage phase, you want to activate Anticipation. Now, this one will save you from the blues, because the blue balls stun you, and that's really, really annoying. So make sure you use Anticipation as soon as you get into mage phase, and run away from them, because there is actually one put under each person on the team, which is quite deadly if you're all stacked up close to each other. But try to save freedom by using Anticipation before you use freedom, or other way around, so save freedom and then use Anticipation. Alright, so the next ability is green. Now this is the instant KO on the next hit after a player turns green, and the green player is completely useless. Now there are a few ways to go about this, but nearly all of them, they all basically require a shield to use the defensive abilities to provoke and then get it off. Okay, so with the first option, you have to, as soon as you see the person turn green, so you see the Kalphite King charge and then shoot a green thing, you provoke and then you use Resonance. Now, you can do this if you don't have a shield equipped at the time. You can provoke, then put your shield on, then spam the hell out of that Resonance button and hope you get it in before you get screwed. But you will get a heal straight to full health unless you get sniped by a minion or a bleed. So that's like I was saying earlier, you do not want to have bleeds. If you do have a bleed and you think of Resonance, you're going to have to use Resonance soon, definitely use Freedom to get rid of the bleed. Otherwise, if you don't have any defensives up, you will get one hit KO, as the next hit the Kalphite King does is an instant KO on whoever it's on. Now for the next option, it's basically the same thing, except you back yourself up. So as soon as you see the person go green, you provoke instantly. This actually has to be done straight away because you got a less time window for it. You use Immortality and then you use Resonance. Now, if you do get sniped by a bleed or a minion, your Immortality means that you won't die. You will die and then come back to health with, like, I think there's a certain percent of your health, but yeah, it didn't really matter what the percent is. You don't die. That's the main factor. Now the next option for the green is pretty much the same thing, except you use Barricade. So as soon as you see him turn green, you use Provoke, and then you use Barricade, and you won't take any damage at all. Now I think this is probably the best option, as I was saying earlier, if the Kalphite King does have a red shield up at the time, and hits you for Immortality, or when you use Resonance, they actually heal quite a lot of health, because it is legitimately hitting you for that damage. Now the last option, apart from just taking the hit and dying as a sacrifice, is a really odd one. Now you don't actually have to have a shield on for this one. As soon as the person goes green, you provoke and then you run out of the tunnel as quick as you can. Now it won't actually hit the person the green person will hit you as you're running up the tunnel, and you won't take any damage. You can see here, I go up and it hit me there and I didn't take any damage. Now you have to be extremely quick to get back in so you can help them, but you can use this if you don't have a shield. I don't know why you wouldn't have a shield, but this is an option. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is the stuns. Now these are mainly in range phase. There is quite a lot of stuns. You can see there is actually 3 stuns on my debuff list. There's quite a few, and they actually stack, and then they'll outlast each other, and then before one runs out, the next one might come back on. So you hear people talking about it all the time. They get stunned and they just can't move. Now if someone gets stunned underneath the Kalphite King, they'll actually get stomped on, kind of like Court Beast, but it'll get faster and faster damage, and it'll get higher. So if you see someone stunned, try to move Kalphite King away, and tell everyone to use Anticipation as much as they can, and use Freedom at the right time, pretty much. Now the last ability I'd like to talk about is Incendiary Shot. Now exactly the same as the range one you can use. It actually puts a debuff on you and then you would take a hit of 40% of your health. And it is quite annoying and it's can KO you if it combos with another thing. So watch out for that. It does go on your bit debuff so you can actually look for it. So yeah, that's just a last little quick tip. Alright, so now we're on to the gear and inventory setups. So on the left, this would be the invent you would use if you weren't using Penance, the Penance Aura. Now the invent on the right would be the invent you would use if you were using the Penance Aura. You don't actually need the Super Restore, that's kind of like a backup in case you take heavy damage while you've got a Sigil equipped. Now, the Ring of Wealth is if you're doing a free-for-all team, obviously. Now the top left potion is a Weapon Poison ++. Now use that with your Prayer Renewal and Overloads. Then you've got your Adrenaline Flush just under that, little blue potions. And then you've got your Rock Tails. And also on that, you also, with my setups, I always take a yak full of Rock Tails. You can use a Unicorn with Scrolls if you wish, but this is my method. I like using this. Now, there is a tackle box in there. You can fill that with raw fish and then use a bind to use the swallow whole scrolls and pretty much take yourself an extra, up to 30 extra raw fish, which will pretty much count as food. And when you use the swallow whole scroll, you actually don't lose adrenaline, so it's actually really, really good. If you actually want, you could actually just use a bind as a familiar and just use the tackle box as kind of like a yak. Now, here is the best setup you can use. Now, Penance Aura should be used as much as you can, then the Reverence Aura, and then the Vampirism Aura. So, the only thing there that I could see people asking questions about is the Ring of Vigor. Now, it saves 10% of your adrenaline after using an ultimate, and that is perfect when you use Berserk. So, use Berserk, then 2 abilities, and an adrenaline potion, and you'll be straight up to a threshold, which deals quite a lot of damage. So, the next best setup is wearing Torva or Void. Now, it's much for much. I think Void is more damage, but I'd probably rather use the Torva, but any of these 3 setups is fine. The only reason the setup with the Slayer Helm is the best, because you get the Slayer bonus if you're on task, obviously, and you also get the Bandos, the Torva, DPS boost, and all the armor, obviously. So definitely go for that if you can. Now the very last thing I'd like to talk about is the phases. Now when it has yellow wings, it's in melee phase. When it has green wings, it's in range phase. And when it has blue wings, it's in mage phase. Make sure you use the appropriate prayers. The appropriate prayer for a melee phase would usually be Soul Split if you're not tanking. Unless you're tanking, then definitely use melee prayer. In range phase, you always want to be using range prayer. And in mage phase, you want to use mage prayer, or you can use Soul Split if you think you can out DPS the damage. Unless you are avoiding, then you should be fine using Soul Split. And always use Turmoil. One last ability I think I missed out earlier is Slaughter. Now, in the melee phase, Kalphite King uses Slaughter on people randomly, and there's a lot of bleeds. Now, if you do move while you have this on you, you would take the 3 times damage, and that is huge. So if you do take that, use Freedom to get rid of it, or you just try not to move as much as you can on melee phase. Other than that, that concludes the guide, and I'm going to leave you guys watching a 3-man kill. If this guide was helpful or you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe if you're keen to see more. Anyways, good luck and enjoy the kill.